What's going on, Andy?
Not much, Josh.
Here we are, episode 10 of the Holochronicles. We don't have a title for this.
We do not have a title. We are in the extended universe now.
Yeah,
in
it's
our
way
episodes.
beyond what we've got. But welcome in, BMBers out there.
Shout out to the BMB.
The Blue Milk Brigade, fellow collectors and lovers of Star Wars. Thanks for joining us on the Holochronicles. You know where you can find us? You can find us on Twitter.
And
At
Stitcher.
Holochronicles and Stitcher. You can also find us on Facebook and Instagram. And guess what? YouTube, if you want to look at our scruffy
Ugly mugs.
scruffy faces. But
We are down one scruffy face today.
we are. Producer Trev as a night with the fam. That's okay. That's
Totally
okay.
fine. We'll make do somehow.
I don't know how,
Without you, Trev.
but we'll do it.
Enjoy your family.
But here we are. So welcome in, and I think we got some stuff going on, don't we?
Definitely.
Star Wars news!
There it is.
In our quest to reach out to as many of the people in the Star Wars universe as possible, just to recap, we've got Emperor Palpatine who
Yeah.
DM trolled us.
He's back there.
We have a Mark Hamill
Yeah.
like on one of our Twitter posts. We've got Brian Herring, who's interacted with us on Twitter, who's a BB-8
Yep.
controller. I guess he would be considered a puppeteer, I suppose.
A master.
Yeah,
Master puppeteer.
master puppeteer, not just your run-of-the-mill
No,
puppeteer,
no.
but a
No,
master.
A master.
And then this is more of an obscure one, but
It is.
It's one that I knew about when I was in high school, oddly enough, which was in the 90s. That's when I was in high school,
Huh.
Josh.
Yeah.
That's
Ditto.
when you were in high
Yeah,
school as well.
yeah.
But it's we got a message back from Shannon McRandall, and she is the actress / model that played the Mara Jade
Ooh.
character in some card games in the 90s. And yeah,
A real dish.
she was a real dish, yeah. But yeah, she's on Twitter, and I asked her if there was a chance that she would make a cameo in any of the new stuff, and she said she'd be down for it. But
Heck yeah.
but not in the plans at this time.
Not in the plans right now.
which is too bad. It was kind of funny, so shout out to Shannon McRandall.
Yeah.
It's good to see you're still out
It's
there.
always fun on Twitter when you're getting those. I mean, this is fun. That's fun.
Yeah, the
That's
interaction is, to me, it's the best part, and it's the best part about collecting for myself, too. I love the interaction.
Now you're collecting tweets,
Now I'm collecting.
screenshots.
Yes, I am.
But that's a cool
Shout out to Winnie Cooper.
Oh,
yes.
I forgot about that.
Got a message from her this week. That was a
Oh man.
man. If you would have told grade school Andy that he would have had just a quick back and forth with Danica McKellar as an adult, he would have been high-fiving your socks off. So
Yeah, it was a good week.
shout out to 10-year-old Andy being stoked. Okay. As far as actual Star Wars news goes, it was announced that Hayden Christensen will be at Star Wars Celebration, and there's a lot of people very excited about that.
Yes.
But they didn't really say what he's going to be doing there, just that he's going to be there. So a debate that many people were having was, at least in the social media realms, is he going to be on a panel? And specifically, will he be on the Episode 1 20th reunion panel, which would be
Right.
cool.
Yeah.
That would be.
He wasn't in episode 1 though.
Well, I know, but I mean, it would be, I guess it would be appropriate if he was.
It
on
would.
the Episode
It
1
would. I'm just
panel.
trying to for your next point. I'm trying to maybe cross out some options here. But keep going.
Yeah, but then there was some well, maybe he's going to be in the Episode
9
panel.
panel.
And can you imagine just having him on the panel, even if he were not to say a word, just what that would mean?
Just sit over there very morose and
Yeah,
cranky.
and brooding.
Yeah, brooding.
And
No, you know what? You know what's going to happen? They're not going to let him on the panel, and he's going to throw a fit. Just like the Jedi Council,
Yeah,
he's
they're
going to
not.
throw a fit.
wait a minute.
Yeah, he's out there just hitting 5-year-olds with his plastic sword.
Yeah.
Hayden, stop.
So if he like, I think people would kind of go crazy if he was on the episode 9 panel.
Yeah.
I don't think he is, but just
Well, let's look.
But hey,
everything's open right now.
we are here to recklessly speculate.
Everything's open.
So yeah, perhaps he is, and that would okay. So Josh,
Yeah.
let's say he does make an appearance in episode 9.
Right.
How does he do it? What way does he do this?
We talked about it a little bit in the last pod, I think. Right? Was it the last or the one before?
It
Anyway, in a prior pod.
It was part of my kitchen sink theory.
Oh yeah. Where you had every character ever coming back into the
Yes,
fold.
from any
Mace lives. Mace lives. By the way, I'm going to put that up there.
Yes, he still lives.
Yeah,
in our hearts.
he does.
But yeah, he could come. I guess he could come up in episode 9 in one of two ways. He could be a Force ghost.
Yeah.
Or / show up in like and we debated this a few episodes ago. Would he be in a Sith holocron or would he be in a Jedi holocron?
Well, here's the problem with
if
the
he was
Force.
going to impart his knowledge, which would it go into? Because he was one of the few people that were both.
The incongruity with the Force Ghost would be that we already had Elder Anakin in
Right.
Jedi, and
But they put him back in like 2004.
Yeah.
They put
They did.
They put Hayden
Oh, you're right.
Christensen.
Oh, that's you know what? I'm sorry. I forgot about that. They did
Yeah.
put him in, didn't they?
Yeah.
So they kind of set the stage a little bit. All right.
Yeah. So
All right.
So going by that,
Gosh, I forgot about that.
you would think he'd be more inclined to impart his wisdom into a Jedi,
Yeah.
but he might have one of those wacky holocrons that goes back and forth, and it's kind of like a little
One of the
split.
wacky hollows, huh?
Yeah, one of those wacky ones that's kind of split. Like, I don't even know if they exist, but like, since you had a tormented, Anakin who knew what was right, but chose Sith
Yeah.
anyway because
You think
he was manipulated, he was lied to and tricked into it, but also did it willingly. And so maybe his holocron is kind of all over the place, and it's kind of like the angel on your shoulder and the devil on the other shoulder, and it kind of goes back and forth. And
so? Anakin helps Kylo find a direction, let's say,
Maybe.
out of a holocron,
perhaps,
or even a Force Ghost. Now,
he
could
could
just
show up
be.
in that regard too.
And then Luke's going to be there and as a Force Ghost too. But is he going to be young Luke or old Luke? But
it's still the same Luke, though.
We
Still the
just
same
don't know.
character, anyway.
yeah.
Same person playing him. But the other way that Hayden Christensen could show up would possibly be in a flashback.
Yeah.
Seeing or having, like, I just foresee, like, Kylo having
I love when you say I foresee.
my plans.
I foresee.
Exactly as I have foreseen.
Yeah.
But no, coming up as a flashback, seeing a tormented Anakin battling, should I, which way should I go here, and then by extension, Kylo kind of going through the same thing because, while Leia and Han and Luke have written him off to be lost,
Right.
and we've discussed that, and he killed his dad, but he couldn't kill his mom though. So
Right.
there is still that, he's still
He's got a sliver.
tore up in there.
Okay.
So I mean,
I don't know where Hayden goes there though. But
Yeah,
it'll be interesting. It would be. I mean, we're acting as if we don't know
it's
if
going
he's
to
going to
happen.
be in it.
Yeah,
But
we don't know.
but I like that. That's cool.
Yeah,
But on the panel
but
or not, or just there signing photos.
I mean, your probably best bets if you're going Vegas odds is that he's just going to be there as a part of the Star Wars celebration and not in any like panels or anything like that. But
Which is fine.
totally fine. He'll be loved
Yes.
because this younger generation of Star Wars fans loves the prequels,
Yeah.
loves Hayden Christensen, and so he's going to be accepted with.
And he's lumped in with Clone Wars, too. I mean, that is his,
Oh, yeah. For sure.
avatar, really, for what he did. So,
For sure. And as a side note, we ran a poll earlier this week, like what would be the biggest holy crap moment of the 4 choices, and the choice that had the most votes was Anakin shows up in a holocron.
That's it. We had 12%. Colossus is the new base. I actually think that's the one that should win. That one's floating.
And
It's got a hyperdrive or whatever.
And it's actually legit. Like, it could actually happen.
Which would be great. We already talked about that. It'd be great. I think the Resistance gets tied in for sure. They're working pretty hard on that series to connect dots.
And you know what? That actually is a good segue into the next topic.
Almost, but let me finish the numbers.
Okay.
And we were only at 12%, which actually that Colossus was the lowest.
Yeah.
Okay, at 12
of the 4.
Of the
and these
4.
were just 4 choices that I came up with that, not in any.
Surprisingly enough, number 3 at 25% was Knights of Ren kick butt.
Yeah.
As a poll option.
I think people want to see that happen, but not as much as 2 other things.
As 2 other things, which would be coming in at number 3 is Leia Doesn't Die.
We're going to discuss that more in a minute.
Okay, so we'll leave that one there. And then, like you said, our top, I was going backwards, sorry. Number 2 was Leia Doesn't Die. And then our top, our number 1 was Anakin in a holocron. That was 38% or 36%. That was pretty good.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people wouldn't see that coming. So that would be a holy crap moment.
Yeah.
Like, oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I think that's whatever. Yeah. So what are we going into?
So the Resistance season 1 has ended, and we have in the last pod talked about the Colossus having a hyperdrive, and it's now in space.
Right.
And it kind of had, for me, I don't know if you ever saw the movie Lost in Space, the one
not the
with
movie. No,
Joey from Friends.
I did not.
It was okay, but it had an ending like it. Same kind of feel where they're just hurtling through space and they don't really know where they're going to end up.
Right.
And so the timeline is now caught up to current movie timeline. And so there's I think personally, there's a legitimate chance that we will see, just like we saw Poe and Leia in the Resistance cartoon, I think we will see a Resistance character in episode 9.
Okay.
And so it'd be, like the one that makes the most sense would be Kaz,
right?
Because he's kind of the main guy. But there is precedence for some of the cartoon figures showing up in, the Disney-made movies.
Right.
Saw Gerrera was in Rebels, Star Wars Rebels, that cartoon. He showed up a few times and was a early rebel kind of force. He wasn't a force user, but he was an impactful person in Rebels, and he showed up in Rogue One,
right?
The Forrest Whitaker character. So there is a precedent set where some of the cartoon figures show up in movies. So
yeah, I think that'd be I think it makes sense. They should. Disney's smart enough. They want to connect all the dots and
right,
and have a whole holistic connection. So the kids or even us that have invested in watching Resistance, I think would just flip out. If they have a favorite character from that cartoon and that character shows up in episode 9.
Yeah, and not just like an Easter egg, not just like a chopper in the background.
And not even a cameo. Maybe a real a real part,
Yeah, the guy that does the voice for Kaz, he's not just a voiceover actor, he's an actual actor too. So like a physical actor, not just voice, but
he does push-ups.
He could do
on
it.
Screen. Yeah. He's a very physical actor. Okay. Anyway, one of our theories.
Yeah.
Lots of push-ups on episode 9.
Yeah. So so I'm staying here right now in front of all you that are listening, and Josh as my witness. There's going to be a Resistance character. In episode 9.
Gauntlet has been thrown.
It's been thrown. Yeah. So on to the next thing here, Joshy.
Incoming transmission!
What's that? So that means like mailbag or news or a question of the day.
So favorite listener Matt sent us a question.
Favorite listener Matt,
and he had, this was kind of part of the barge hangover.
Yeah.
But he asked what we thought about collectors that purchased multiple barges, or as an example, purchased multiple barges and then kept one, but maybe sold 2 or 3, or because I think you could get up to 5. I think an individual could get up to 5.
I don't even know if it had a limit. Yeah.
No, there was a limit, but like you could sign your daughter up to get 5.
That's
and
what
your
I'm
wife
saying.
to get
Like,
5, and your other daughter
not
to
a
get
hard
5.
limit.
So, let's say somebody purchased 5, kept one for themselves, and then sold or is trying to sell the other 4 for 2 or 3 times the purchase price. So, and the reason why he brought that up was because, Matt's a big Star Wars fan, as
Right.
a lot of people who, follow us and listen are. And he was like, I would really love the opportunity to get one, but
The place down the street had it for what, $1,000?
it was right at $1,000
Yeah.
bucks. They're originally $500, and the place down the street from him was selling it for $999.99.
Yep.
And he was like, man, if it was $500, it'd be a lot more doable. But it was,
or even the sense of that they're gouging because everyone knows what the price was and it's double the price.
yeah, it's twice the price.
Right.
And so he asked what we thought about that, and
Capitalism.
there's
Well, we have a couple thoughts. I mean,
So here's why I don't mind it at all. Here's
what don't you mind?
I don't mind people buying a few and keeping one, and then
Yeah.
either selling the others to pay for the one that they purchased, or just to try or to buy them as an investment,
Yeah.
and then to make a few bucks off of it. Okay, so here's why I don't have a problem with that at all, because when HasLab put it out there that they were going to do this, virtually anybody had the opportunity to buy one for $500 at that time.
Right. So we were talking about this. There was a date restriction, meaning you had to put in, they were doing the kind of the backer thing where
Right.
they wanted to hit 5,000 units.
Right.
That was their goal. It wasn't their limit. And there was a hard date where you had to purchase before this date, and after that date it closed.
Right.
So to your point,
to the U.S. buyers,
the U.S. buyers. So to your point, everybody
Yeah.
had an opportunity to buy the barge.
Yeah, and it wasn't like a secret thing.
No, and they sold what 8,000 plus units.
Yeah,
right?
8. I think so.
Which
yeah.
is interesting, given how many Star Wars fans are out there. I know $500 is a lot, but 8,000 still is a pretty low number for the U.S.
Yeah.
I'm surprised at 8,000.
Were you?
I mean, honestly, why wouldn't it be 20 or 30?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I got into a little conversation on
You
Twitter.
did. You did.
Some people kind of hammered me a little bit, but it wasn't my intention. I was like, because HasLab just announced that they were opening it up to Europe.
Which that's a different topic, and
Right.
I'm fine with it. Just
I am too.
I'm completely fine with it, and I think you were too on
there was
online.
just
Might have been a little
so
misconstrued.
yeah, some people were at least initially upset that they were opening it up to Europe, which, by the way, was the plan all along.
Right.
But I don't think some people realize that, and so I threw out there. I said maybe people were upset that they purchased theirs under a false pretense that theirs was, U.S. was going to be the only ones getting it. And then, a couple people got on my case like, oh, well, you got yours. You don't want anyone else to play with
Well,
your toy,
and also, was it a false pretense, which you just
Yeah.
said? It wasn't. They never said we won't sell it anywhere else. They just
No.
said we're only selling it here.
Yeah, we're only selling to the U.S. for this amount of time.
Right.
You're welcome to purchase one, but after this time, we're not selling in the U.S. anymore.
Right.
So anyway, all that to say is that I'm okay with people that want to do that because everybody had the opportunity, and I think what we're seeing is a little bit of people regretting not
Absolutely.
taking the opportunity to get
that's-
it because it is a freaking cool toy.
But that's what drives prices, right? Is
Right.
demand, and
Supply and
demand is going to be
Up.
after they see like, wow, this is a legit. It's an amazing toy, especially as a collector. And look, I get it. There's not everybody has $500 laying around last February when
right.
you're just coming out of Christmas. You're trying to
Get
trying
your
to pay your
bearings
bills
and
and
get your feet back under you.
and look, we have a story within our own collector group where I got an extra barge. I mean, I did. I got one for display and one to look at, and then one to sell, or one to keep in the box and one to sell. And one of our fellow guys was like, "Man, I wish I would have done it back then." I was like, hey, here you go. I got one. I sold it. Cost my $500. And
You didn't charge them $40 for shipping.
damn it. So I don't know if we, son of a gun. Yeah.
If you're listening, never mind.
Yeah, if you're listening, never mind. $500. But that to me was like, okay, there's the, I don't know, there's the good deed for the day, but also, I don't know, the one that I'm saving.
So
the one that I'm saving, am I going to sell that for $1,000? Would I sell it for 1,200 or 15?
That's okay. So that's my question to you. So let's say our buddy wasn't interested in it. That means you had an extra laying around. Were you planning on selling it?
Yeah.
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 And for how much?
Market price.
Market price.
Yeah. Market
So
price.
right now is kind of between $1,000 and $1,200, I would say.
Right. And look. I mean, honestly, everyone thinks this. Because, like I said, I'm on both sides of the fence here. Like, hey, I get it that it's unfortunate that not everyone got it, or it's $500 and you didn't have it at the time, and now you wish you did. And I also get that, like, hey, you're going to buy a couple and pay for the one you're keeping.
Right.
Literally.
Yeah.
You buy the one that you're going to keep, you sell the extra one you bought, and you've paid for both of them.
Yes, and you're at
Square.
Yeah, you're square, and you have a fantastic.
You're square. And
Sale
unfortunately,
barge.
the person that bought it from you, not unfortunately, but fortunately for them, the person that bought it from you, they just didn't get on the right. They weren't in the email chain or whatever happened. That happens to me all the time. That's why I don't have this and that, is because I missed the boat.
Yeah.
And I paid a premium to get back on it. So on the other hand, though, when we talked about, releasing in Europe, there's no restrictions as far as I'm concerned. It's like, yeah, put some more out there. Look, I already made the point. They only sold 8,000 units.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how many Star Wars collectors are there?
Well, quite a few.
Quite a few. 8,000 is a minute amount.
I would say it's a conservative number.
Yeah, and to even double that. Now, there was a thing we heard about, and this is hearsay, and so don't kill me on Twitter, but that they wouldn't make more than 10, so 10,000 total. Which, that's a weird.
That was kind of that was a part of this conversation I was having with a few people, that they would, as many people that signed up to back the barge,
right?
But they were going to make 10,000 either way, and then any that didn't get sold, they would release that amount to Europe. So they were making 10,000 no matter what, and then however many signed up, or maybe it was 15,000 or whatever the number
which makes
is.
sense. You're going to run a whole lot or whatever they.
Yeah, and so
run.
however many USA signs up for, that's how many they get, and then whatever's left out of that number, that arbitrary number that they came up with, that's the amount that gets sold in Europe.
Right.
Or Canada, whatever. So that's a possibility. That is a model of how to do that, I suppose. Not saying that that's what's going to happen, but I guess we'll find out when they say how many Europe can pre-order.
Look, the bottom line is that barge will hold its retail value.
Yes.
Forever. You won't sell that thing for less than $500.
Nope.
Ever.
Nope.
I mean, just look at the Lego Millennium Falcon that first came out. They were really worried when the second edition came. It's still as $1,500 or whatever they're selling it for.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's still accurate, but last I looked. And same with the barge. I mean, the barge, brand new in a box, is gonna net you $800, even 4 or 5 years down the road, maybe more.
Yeah.
Even after they release in Europe, maybe the value drops. But
yeah,
I think that it's important, just to remember that that's kind of the name of the game, right? They don't make an unlimited amount.
Yeah.
Of anything.
And because it's big and unique, it's not like there's a lot sitting on the shelves, and it wasn't ever meant to sit on shelves. So,
and it was
stores.
that amazing unboxing video we did that really jacked up demand.
Well, I mean, no, you're not wrong, Josh. After people watched our video and saw how cool it was,
oh my gosh,
prices went through the roof.
Oh man, you're welcome, eBay. Not Haslab, eBay.
All right. So yeah, if you have a problem with people doing that, then I feel you. It's now more expensive than it was initially, and
unfortunately, it's what makes the price stay where it's at.
And that is,
if you didn't give a damn,
yeah,
it wouldn't be a problem, right? So.
Yeah. But if you're okay with that, and then more power to you, try and make a couple bucks off it. I got no problem with that either. So
yeah,
I can definitely see both sides of that coin, I know you can too, Josh, and which is not to say we don't have an opinion one way or the other. It's just kind of, we were lucky. We were fortunate that we had the ability to get it when it was offered, and we did.
Yep.
So
I agree.
keep your eyes out for the next cool thing, because
Dang
I
right.
imagine HasLab's not going to see how
No,
successful this was and
yeah.
not do another
This
one.
train's rolling.
Yeah.
We'll get another cool item. And you know what? It'll be more successful than ever. And I hope everybody gets to get on board there. So
Yeah, have a little a nest egg set aside for
That's
the
right.
next cool
an
toy.
Enfys nest egg.
Yes, not an Easter egg.
Easter eggs.
That was smooth.
Hey, thanks, man. Easter egg discussion is not necessary. Well, I guess it's an Easter egg of sorts. Would you consider this an Easter egg?
It might just be a good notice.
Okay, so
You saw that. Good for you.
yeah, I've been on a roll with that lately.
Actually, I don't even know why you're doing this Easter egg instead of the other one. Are you doing? You should do the other one. I'm sorry. I'm just pulling that. I'm just saying.
Okay.
I mean, just go ahead. Just talk about it.
what-
We could do both.
Yeah, let's just do both. 'Cause
All right,
we
we got 2 Easter eggs. For you
Oh my
today.
goodness!
Oh,
Hey,
you're so welcome.
you thought you were just getting one Easter egg.
Oh no, you're getting 2.
You're getting 2. You get what you paid for, and now it's doubling. So,
What you paid for? Oh man.
in the Phantom Menace, we know that young Anakin, Jake Lloyd Anakin, is very, very skilled at building things, putting things together, fixing up
Sure.
pod racers, and he's a handy kid. And he built C-3PO.
Right.
Just out of parts from Watto's shop and what he had laying around, and to kind of help out at home with his mom. And we know that C-3PO is, and I'm using air quotes here for those listening.
Yes. Yeah, he's doing the air quote fingers. Good for you.
But he's naked. He's naked. He's without his gold shell.
Right.
You just see wires in a frame, and there's even a comment made that, you can see my circuits and what, R2, that.
Yeah, just making fun of poor self-conscious 3PO.
Yeah, R2 zings him a little bit. But fortunately, C-3PO doesn't know what he means by that.
Right.
Anyway, he's without his gold shell in episode 1, but in a scene where Anakin is talking to Watto, hanging up in the background is a gold C-3PO shell.
There it is.
It's just right there.
It's
And
right there.
for those watching on YouTube,
It's there. It's in the
picture's
background.
pulled up.
Yeah.
It's right there.
Right by the DVR pause right there.
Yeah, this was on my own television.
I love that.
This is on my own television, and I saw.
If
it,
you
I
don't
was
think he's not doing his own research,
yeah, this is my own homework. I'm doing. I'm watching it, and all of a sudden I catch that gold shine catches
like
my
it.
eye, and I hit pause, and I took a picture of it on my phone, and voila, here we go.
Voila.
I believe it's right before they, or before Anakin does his pod race. He's
Okay.
talking. He's talking with Watto about Qui-Gon being foolish gambler, and there's C-3PO shell. Now he doesn't actually get his shell until Attack of the Clones,
Right.
when he goes back to try and save his mom, but he doesn't do that, and he sees 3PO.
did we have like a 3PO shell segment in that movie they cut out or something?
No, it's
He's
just
getting dressed.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I actually can't remember
Oh,
the
dear.
first time we see him in
Hmm.
his gold shell.
I don't know either.
So it would have to be,
What about the red leg? I don't. When did that show up?
that would be later.
Yeah.
We never know why he got
We
the
don't.
red leg. But he had a silver leg for a while.
Yeah.
And there's a red arm.
Red arm. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Silver leg. Gotcha.
Anyway, that's the first Easter egg. That's the first Easter
All
egg.
right. The second one I think is more. It's an Easter egg within another movie. It's a Star Wars Easter egg in another movie.
In another movie.
And again, you found this where?
I'm watching television this weekend. It was Friday night. I was watching The Great Outdoors.
Yeah.
Classic
Movie.
80s movie.
Yep.
Dan Aykroyd and John Candy. Annette Bening, too. Yeah, just watching it because I remember seeing it as a kid, and there's a couple funny parts in it. But I'm watching it, and
Bare butt.
bear butt. An actual bear butt is in that movie. I'm watching it, and there's a scene where John Candy and Dan Aykroyd are talking on the porch.
Just chilling.
They're just talking on a porch, and I have to push pause again. I think
Got it.
is it you guys? Is
There it is.
up there?
Yeah, it's yeah.
And there's as they're talking, they're drinking out of 2 glasses.
Yep.
And I'm like,
There's a pause button up there.
I know.
Just to add, I'm just adding credibility.
Yeah, this is me again noticing something in another movie. But I'm like, I have those glasses. I know those glasses. They're the Burger King Coca-Cola promotional.
Such a nerd, man.
Am I?
I mean, John Candy. I'd be looking at Aykroyd's face. Just like,
Yeah.
give me some more of that magic.
Listening to
There it is, though, man. Comedic genius.
of the 2. Yeah, but I'm sitting there and I was like, hold up. I hit pause. Yeah, that's a Empire Strikes Back, Luke Skywalker glass, and a Return of the Jedi, Jabba's Palace Max Rebo band.
You darn right.
And it's a promotional Burger King, Coca-Cola. You could get a glass and a poster, I believe. Well, you could with the Empire Strikes. I think you could with Return of the Jedi too. But yeah, it's just I have the set, and so that's how I'm familiar with it. That's how I recognized it.
Fantastic.
Like, yeah,
No, it's really cool. Like, and by the way, it blew up on Twitter a little bit.
Yeah,
for us.
it's like-
For us.
For
I
us,
mean,
yeah,
for us,
we're at like almost 200 likes. And then retweeted a few times by some people with some followers. So appreciate that, but. Yeah, it was an unexpected.
That was
Friday
a good
night
find. And
yeah.
it's also a dive into your nightly routines. You're watching the great outdoors
On a
What's
Friday
this, on a
night?
Friday night.
Well, in fairness, I've had some sick kids, so
All right.
I wasn't going to be able to do a lot anyway. But
That's
actually, that's
awesome.
pretty normal for me
That
to
is.
be watching TV on a Friday night. With sick kids or not, that's kind
There
of
it
what
is.
I'm doing.
That's a good egg.
Thank you. So
That's a good egg.
you got 2 eggs for the price.
2 for 1.
For the price of 1 here. Now, if you listened to last week's pod or watched last week's pod, I had a theory about what maybe episode 9 might be like,
Mm-hmm.
and you dubbed it the kitchen sink theory.
I did.
because there was a lot going on in it.
There was every favorite character ever returning.
Yeah, that wasn't clearly
No,
dead.
it was a good theory, though.
Well, it was. I think
It
it
was
was more.
fun.
It was very sugary.
It was sure.
There's filled with saccharin, and so that everybody might be happy with some or all of it. You know, if it's going to go down, if this is the last movie for a while, then let's make everybody happy.
Right.
And when you're trying to make everybody, you okay there?
I'm all right. It really got me.
But trying to make everybody happy usually means you make nobody happy. So
Right.
there was just too much in that theory. I understand that. There's 2 theories I'm going to throw out here. One
'Kay.
is not original.
No.
I'm taking this from someone else. And then one is
'Kay.
and I'm sure I'm not the only one who's thought of this, but it's something that I have been thinking about on my own.
Right.
So the first one that is not ours comes from @Tatooine Sons.
Yep.
Okay. Talking about what episode 9 might entail, they were pointing out the sons. I'm not sure their names. Forgive me, Tatooine Sons.
Do they need names? And that's SONS. Like,
Yeah, not SUN.
I mean, it could get confusing. There's a
Right.
couple of them there.
There are sons.
I
It's plural.
see what they did there.
Yeah,
I see what
it's
they did
very clever.
there. Very clever.
Anyway,
I love
we
it.
follow them on Twitter, and they're a good follow.
Yep.
@Tatooine Sons. Finn's introduction is as a stormtrooper that rejects his programming,
Right.
essentially. And if one can do it, maybe others can too.
Right.
And they threw out there that a stormtrooper mutiny could be coming.
I really like this theory.
Well, so this idea was actually touched upon in the Clone Wars cartoon, but it was because the original clones from Geonosis had like a chip in their they had an implant in their heads that hid Order 66. And so that was always in there, and if they heard Order 66, regardless if they were friendly to the Jedi or
Right.
or
Which is
not, or-
obvious because
Yeah, because they were.
They were like buds.
Yeah, really tight with some of them, that they would turn on him. And so this was, some people actually found out that it was a real thing and tried to get them all taken out, but that was I won't spoil that for you.
Right.
But there were some stormtroopers in the cartoon, all that to say. There's some stormtroopers in the cartoon that reject and actually remove their implant. And so I guess the new First Order doesn't have just they aren't necessarily all clones, but they are kids taken, they're taking kids at an early age,
yep.
and they're indoctrinating them into the First Order via stormtroopers. And so this is basically all Finn has ever known. In fact, he doesn't even have a name. He's got a number.
Right.
He never knew a name or anything like that. And so he gets to the point where he rejects it on his own. And if one can do it,
sure,
others can too.
Sure.
And this all makes sense because this theory has merit, because right now the rebels, the resistance, insofar as the movies are concerned, is what we know of, is limited down to about 20 people. Whoever can fit on the Millennium Falcon is the resistance right now, not including the Colossus in the Resistance cartoon.
Well, or other systems.
Yeah, or other systems too. But as far as the hierarchy of leadership in the Resistance, that's pretty much not very many people. And so how does a group of not very many defeat what is essentially an endless amount of resources in the First Order? They have so many more troopers. They have so many more ships and destructive capabilities. How do you defeat that? Well, Stormtrooper mutiny is a possible way that can happen.
Yeah, if you get even a small defection, you can. But here's the only thing I would say. So we have Finn, who's like the major precedent. Like, boom, this happened to Finn. But we have no other evidence. My question would be, how would they incorporate? Like, what are your thoughts on how they would incorporate like a mutiny? Like, what drives? Because we didn't really see what drove Finn. Other than maybe it was his first encounter and he didn't like what was going on in that village. He didn't agree with what was going on. He got the hand slapped on his helmet, and
the bloody hand on his helmet, kind of in that opening.
So you could tell him from everyone else is how I saw that.
Yes, and and I think in the books or in the episode 7 book, it explains that the trooper that died was a friend of his.
Ah, okay.
And it really shook him. And they don't really explain that in the movies, but
I think that
gets
that interaction shook him.
Yes,
as soon as he saw that guy.
For our purposes,
right.
As moviegoers, you can't explain every detail, but yeah, you could tell in the movies that it shook him, and then in the books you get a little more explanation as to why, or why it shook him so much.
Right.
And so. He never even fired his weapon,
So how does a Stormtrooper Uprising... Man, that'd be kind of cool.
Would be cool.
I mean, they can't hit anything, but it's cool.
Well, as soon as they
Hey, boys, we got these guys on our side.
As soon as they take the helmets off, they become a lot better
become
shots.
Far more accurate.
Yeah. That's funny. So anyway... Thank you, Tatooine Sons.
That's a cool theory.
That's an intriguing idea.
I mean, you could almost make a movie out of that by itself.
To
be honest.
Or just like how a mutiny takes over like a dreadnought or something like that, or a Star Destroyer.
Sure.
Because it would have to start something. It's got to be something like that, some sort of Spartacus kind of, we overthrow a small thing,
well, and do you think
which leads to a bigger thing, which leads to now we've got a serious army we have to contend with.
Do you think Finn leads the charge on that? I mean, is that the role they're going to give him in this next movie? If that's the case, I mean, Finn is now the revolting stormtrooper, like face of the uprising.
I gotta say that Phasma knew who he was.
Yeah, and
even in episode 8, traitor. They knew who he was,
but now he could be.
So I think he is known as, at least in the First Order, as a traitor, and so not just a deserter, but a traitor.
Yeah.
And so I think he probably is known, the First Order's most wanted. He's in the top 10 if you go to their website.
Okay, I will. I'll check it.
Yeah, check that.
It's all just Stormtrooper mask
Stormtrooper
after Stormtrooper mask.
Just different numbers.
Ah, man, that guy right there.
That guy.
He's got a little hitch in his walk.
So anyway, the theory that I want to delve into just really quickly here, Josh, is this was one of the choices on the poll that we put up, and it was the second most voted upon.
Yeah. Or the third least. I can't remember.
That let me just throw this out there to you. You and I have been operating under the assumption that since Carrie Fisher is no longer with us, that they were going to find some way to cease her in episode 9.
Right.
And so, and that's kind of what is happening with the original trilogy characters anyway. They're kind of
they're killing them
dying them off,
yeah.
And so I think you and I just assumed that they would do that with Carrie Fisher too. But I got to thinking this week, they don't have to do that. I know
someone tweeted it to us, right?
No.
Or did you reply?
I replied.
Yeah.
And
I thought that was a good reply because it was like, oof.
Yeah. Well, I said, or the tweet was that if they killed Chewbacca off in episode 9, or if,
the Falcon.
Something like that.
I mean, if the Falcon goes down with Chewbacca and Lando in some fiery.
Oh my gosh. Anyway, that's kind of the premise of the thing. And I said, well, let me counter with this. Leia doesn't die in episode 9.
Yeah.
And so we know that she actually shot scenes for episode 9 before she passed. And so there are some scenes with her actually in it.
Right.
How much, I don't know. How much if they were able to get of her in episode 9 with actual footage, I don't know. But we have seen in Rogue One that they can CGI a pretty good version of her. I thought that was...
I'm sorry. You just reminded me of another. Keep going.
But
no, they did a great job.
Yeah, and here's what made me think of it. I was watching TV. I was watching TV, and there was I was scrolling. I didn't actually land on it because I've seen it so many times. But Fast and the Furious was on. Okay,
I can't wait till you connect these dots. Keep going.
Okay, well, and the 6th or 7th installment of Fast and the Furious, Paul Walker died.
Yeah.
And they CGI'd his face kind of on some previous angles of his, and they kind of made it work for part of the movie so that even though he wasn't there, he was still there in the movie. And then they kind of sent him off, he was going to be a dad and have his family. And so he was going to go off and do that.
That's far more Fast and Furious intel than I have ever had.
Okay.
I watched number 1.
Okay.
Sorry.
So anyway,
that's
cool.
With spoiler alert, how about
Paul Walker?
He's dead.
he's been no longer with us for quite a while, but I thought that just because Paul Walker died during the shooting of that movie didn't mean they had to kill him off.
Well, there you go.
And
so there's your dots.
There's the dot I'm connecting. I don't know how big a fan of the Fast and Furious franchise J.J. Abrams is, but
or Carrie Fisher
for that matter, but just because she passed in real life does not mean they necessarily have to kill her off in the movies. And that would solve a little bit of maybe the questions like, well, who's going to lead?
Right.
There's because she's going to be there in some regard, but
Poe needs to come into his own. I think Leia needs to pass the torch to Poe. I don't know if they can pull that off though.
Yeah.
Because Poe had to have his because Poe was like cool dude in Force Awakens.
Yeah,
I mean he didn't do anything right except just be awesome. That's a hell of a pilot, whatever. But in Last Jedi, they had to make Poe a little. They had to give him some, a flaw, so to speak, because he was perfect. He was a great pilot, right?
Right.
And they tried really hard because they made
his
him
flaw twice in Episode 8. Was the same flaw of being a little overzealous,
and untrusting, and assuming that,
and got people killed.
He got people killed.
He got a lot of people killed.
So it's humbling.
2 times.
Maybe they should kick him out.
I mean,
maybe you should go scoundrel.
Like if if we're rating people that got people killed,
Poe's number one.
Like,
Let's make a poll for that.
he's not number one because Snoke and Kylo, they blew up 5 planets, but
Well, I mean, that's not getting somebody killed. That's killing somebody.
they killed. But whether it's a sin of omission or a sin of commission, it's still a sin, right? So Poe got a lot of people dead in Episode 8. I mean, I like Poe. I love Oscar Isaac, but let's face some realities here. He got a lot of people dead.
Poe's a dick. Sorry.
Kind of is. I mean, like, how do you
put that up on a poll?
Yeah, is Poe.
Is Poe.
So anyway, just because Carrie Fisher's dead, I don't think that necessarily means
I don't mind that.
Leia's
I like to sit and think about that and,
Yeah.
and wonder how they would do that and what would be, from everything we're hearing is that they're trying to do the most, I don't know if the right term, a respectful or a very, a glowing a departure from
right.
Carrie
She's
Fisher.
super well respected.
Well, of course, and everyone's emotional about it. Obviously the people that work with her, obviously the cast and all the various parts were ready.
Yeah.
Or not ready. We're worried about, sending her off the right way. So who knows what that looks like. Well,
and her daughter's still in it.
Yeah.
Carrie Fisher's daughter has a role. She's one of the survivors.
Yeah.
Of the resistance.
Right. So
they got to do it right one way or the other, but that doesn't necessarily mean she's going to die in the movie.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Man, if you just throw out enough theories, then we can just create 17 different movies. Kitchen sink.
Put me in charge.
Show me your collection.
Oh, show me your collection time.
All right, Josh, get the pictures ready for those watching. Today or this weekend, we had like a varsity level longtime collector. Actually, there's 2 guys that contribute to the Sandcrawler cast. It's at Sandcrawler Cast. There's Mac Tarkin and Dengar Dan.
Dang.
Yeah.
Those guys know how to do it.
They do, man. Their website is awesome.
Yeah.
It's something that I've looked at quite a few times, and it's impressive. And one of the things that they do, and I promise we're not stealing, this was an idea all on our own, but they feature people's collections on their website.
Right.
And there are some fantastic, very creative, building play sets kind of thing for their Star Wars collection, vintage stuff, new stuff, everything in between. And I thought I was showing pictures of Dengar Dan's collection, but it actually turned out to be Mac Tarkin's. So my bad on
not
that.
to be confused.
Yeah, so Dan will have to get yours on one of these other weekends. But the collection that we showed, man, it was this bedroom converted into a collection room, and it was floor to ceiling, wall to wall, vintage, new, middle, costumes, autographs, ships, figures, play sets. I mean, it was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And I only put 4 pictures up. There's like, I don't know, 25 pictures or so on their actual website.
Yep. And where's that? That's
sandcrawler.net.
Sandcrawler. Yep. And then
thesandcrawler.net.
Yeah.
And it's great, and all of the other featured collections are outstanding. So tip of the cap to both those guys, because they both have great collections, and like it's collections that anybody would be stoked to have. So unless your name's Steve Sansweet. Do you know that guy, Josh?
No.
He's a baller.
Is he?
Yeah, he's the biggest collector of Star Wars stuff in the United States, which probably means in the world.
Did he get a barge?
Great question.
Did he get several barges?
Why, you want to sell him one?
Yeah. Call me.
Yeah, Steve, call me.
Look me up.
But yeah, awesome.
Yeah,
awesome
we appreciate
collection.
so much when you share. We, obviously we can only, put out so much on our cast or on our YouTube, but man, I do enjoy just looking at, and I know you do. I know you're just pinching and zooming on these pics that people send. It's just,
wonder if it's got any
a ton of fun.
doubles.
Yeah, any doubles.
But yeah, definitely. If you are interested in having your collection, no matter how big or how small or how obscure, you just collect a few of a certain thing, or there's a character that you collect or whatever. If you have a wide variety in your collection, or you collect mugs and posters or whatever it is, if it's Star Wars related and you want us to feature it on one of these Saturdays, hashtag show me your collection.
Yep, we throw it up on Twitter for you.
Direct message us, and we would love to see what you got and post it up there and send it out.
At Holochronicles.
Yep, at Holochronicles. Don't forget to listen to us or watch us on YouTube.
That's right.
Wherever you can
Good promotion.
find
You're
podcasts.
doing great. You're doing great.
Let's see.
Hello, what have we here?
Collector tip.
Before we do the collector tip, Josh, have you got anything lately?
Man, it was a busy week for me. I feel like I did, but I can't remember. I pulled a Black Series out. That's all. That's it. To me, it. Well, grabbed one, but do you want to remind me? Did I send something to you?
No, but I think we should put a bow on last week. You teased that you might be going down the funk hole.
Oh,
and
yeah. Thank you.
There was, I don't know how many.
So
how many Funkos were in the lot that you were looking at?
This is almost my collector tip, where we did. I met an awesome guy, and I actually did purchase something from him on OfferUp, and this is, I think I said that last week. But
we were left hanging.
We were left
because
hanging with the Funko hole.
You were supposed to let him know the next day if you were going to spring on it.
I did. So there's a great site where you can go and price pops and see how much they are. I can't remember the site, or else I'd plug it. But so I went and I priced out everything he sent me. He sent me pictures, and clearly you can see the number and the character, obviously. And man, it got up there. And one thing that he said to me as a pretty cool, guy, he's like, man, this is one of the best investments as a collector, that I've ever made, because a lot of these items, they're $10 for these pops, and he's selling them. He had a Boba Fett. I don't know which version, because I'm not deep into that, but he had a Boba Fett. I think he sold for $1,000, which
Jeepers.
Maybe he bought for 20 or 10, something crazy. So I priced it out, and the whole lot came to about $1,200. And that was just me as a collector saying, all right, my like I explained, was my draw was to get a collection going right out the bat.
Yeah.
But my resistance and ultimately my decision was that while they're cool, while they have their place, while they're awesome, while people line up for them, good on you. I actually appreciate it. I want to see what you got. I want to look at it and touch it. I just don't need it in my collection for that amount. And so I passed. And I told him, I was like, look, I got to be honest with you. You have great items and they're in great shape, but my budget is half of that, and he of course countered and was like, well, is there anything in there that does fit in your budget? And I kind of had to come back and say, look, in this regard, I'm kind of an all or nothing, like I want to start the collection, but I just don't see myself continuing. Yeah. And that's okay. I mean, my tip is like, know when to hold them is really
know when to fold them,
and know when to walk away.
And know when to run. We're old. If you got
there
that,
was a commercial last year.
That,
even the kids know about that now.
Are you
They've
sure
played it
that?
like 1,000 times.
I'm not so sure.
All right.
I think we're old.
I'm still Star Wars, so we're good.
Okay. So you did not spring
I did
on
not.
the Funkos.
I did not. And I want to, he'll never listen, but that dude is a solid Star Wars collector and a great person to buy from, and that's what you're looking for. And
a good resource,
a great resource. So when he's hit me up 3 more times with other stuff, like, hey, by the way, I have this, and I'm like, man, that's great. Not interested. He's got like some just kind of off the wall stuff that I'm not into, which I don't consider pops off the wall, but to me, at my age, they seem very, I don't know.
You're gonna
bobbleheady.
You're gonna say
kitty.
These toys seem a little too young for you.
These toys are a little too young for me. Where's my barge?
Nerd. So this week I purchased. There's 8 figures for Star Wars Resistance,
dude,
and I've got them. And they're cool. They're 3-inch figures.
They were cool.
Yeah.
I don't have the pick.
I got the Resistance figures.
Check them out.
Yeah.
What I
the
like
first
about it,
8
here's
of
what
them.
I said, is that, even though the movies generated new characters, obviously, and we got, but this whole line, like, nothing relates, right? It's all new characters, except for BB or Poe, but it's all, I don't know what I'm trying to say. To me, it really intrigued me. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool.
Well, and they're cartoony.
Yeah.
They're not like the Black Series that are just super detailed
Yeah,
and
yeah.
realistic.
Yeah.
These are a little more cartoony and a little more, just like the cartoon is geared a little bit more towards kids, I think, initially anyway. But they get into some pretty heavy stuff.
Yeah.
But the figures are, I don't know. I saw them at Target. They were there, and so I kind of liked them, and I got them. So I got those. I don't.
Wow.
I don't
throw that down.
I don't.
I got them.
Yeah,
They're mine.
I didn't. Wasn't planning on getting them, but when I saw them, I thought, yeah, those are cool. I'm gonna get those. So I got them.
I got some. How many were there? 8.
There's 8. Yeah.
I got 6 up on, so you can see them. But they're pretty slick. I like the packaging. It looks great. It's fantastic.
Yeah. Thanks.
Another cool new toy.
I don't.
Good on you, bro.
I don't typically buy new stuff. I'm more of a vintage guy.
Yeah.
But
Hey, why not?
yeah.
Leader in your category.
So I got them.
All right.
I don't feel like I need to explain myself.
What's your
any
collector
further.
tip on
My
that?
collector.
Hey, when you see cool stuff, buy it.
Yeah. If you
Collector tip.
if you have the means. Yeah, my collector tip, I think we've said this a couple times already, but asking the question, is this everything?
Yeah.
It's solid, man. It is
Yeah.
gold.
Well, that's how the funk hole came.
Yeah. Mine's a little bit more of a practical tip this week. If you are going to sell something on eBay, we're going to specify this to eBay. If you're going to sell something on eBay that you want to maximize your earning potential on, make sure you put it up on a Wednesday or a Thursday, 10-day auction. So,
Why?
So that makes it end on a Saturday or a Sunday when you'll have the most eyes on it and the fewest people working. And if you do it around 4 or 5 o'clock Pacific time, which we are Pacific Coast time,
Right.
that means it's going to get East Coast not too late. It'll be 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock on the East Coast side. And so that's right in the sweet spot if you live on the left coast. Okay.
Right.
So if you want to maximize 10-day auctions that begin Wednesday or Thursday around 5 p.m.
Nice.
Pacific time would be the best.
That's a good tip.
Yeah, it's practical.
There you go.
I got something on there right now.
And also, know when to hold them.
No one to fold them.
All right. What else, man?
Actually, I think that's about it. To be honest with you,
Well, that's good.
you got anything? You wanna throw out?
I have a few things, but I think we'll save them for next week. By the way, next week, Holochronicles will be divided a little more. This scoundrel will be on
Vacation
on another island.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Luke's Island.
Sure. I'll be looking for green milk. The wrong way. I'll be pole vaulting over chasms and fishing, and not pulling my X-wing out of the water with the Force.
God, that would have been like tied a bow on it.
That's the one theory. Is that's how did Luke get there? He Yoda'd that thing out and he flew light speed and he made it and he jumped out and he wasn't a hologram. Yeah. All right, or whatever projection. Yeah.
Move
so
along.
thank you. Jeez.
Move along.
That's what happens when I get.
You need to calm down
I'm
over
sorry.
there. You got a little in.
Yeah. So anyway, next week, look for us on. We're gonna try and make it happen remotely. You might just be looking at us, staring at our computer screens, talking to you because it's so important that we give you our weekly update. But we'll be around. And shout out to the BMB. That's the Blue Milk Brigade, fellow collectors like Andy and I, and we love your interaction on all the various socials, so make sure you're there with us. I'm throwing them up on the screen as fast as possible for you. But obviously on Twitter at Holochronicles. You can find us on Instagram at Holochronicles.
Geez.
And then what? YouTube,
Facebook. Subscribe on iTunes.
Yeah, hit subscribe for us. Hit like. If you're on YouTube, make sure you hit the little bell so you'll the little notification bell so you'll know when we put up our next video.
Tell us what you like.
Yeah.
Give us a rating if you got the time. Tell us what you don't like.
Yeah.
It's probably one or two of those.
We love you guys, and we enjoy the interaction in the universe that we all share and care about. All right, that's enough. See you later.
See ya.
Mace lives.
Mace lives, 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 lives.
This party's over.
What you say, Mace?
Take a seat, young Scott.
Oh, snap.
For your own good, stay out of this thing.
Oh, yeah, Mace. Mace talking big.
If what you've told me is true, you will have gained my trust.
Mace trust.